Hello there, and welcome to Bill Ricardi's weekly Patreon update. I, of course, am Bill Ricardi, a purveyor, creator, writer of fantasy, urban fantasy, and as you're about to find out, other kinds of novels and stories. So, what's on the agenda this week? First of all, we're going to be talking about Cadence, which is the sequel to Rhythm, and how we have one more week to go before that goes to the beta readers. Then we're going to be talking about why my 50-ish hour weeks might be turning into 70-ish hour weeks. Finally, we're going to be talking about what's going to happen over the course of the next couple of weeks as far as beta reading is concerned, and what my next project is after Cadence. Right, let's take that in order. First of all, we are looking at the next week being the last week of primary writing for Cadence. So where are we right now? We're at about 90,000 words. I expect to get to about 96 to 98,000 words by the very end, and then start the reviewing process, which is a marathon weekend of doing nothing but going over the book, making sure that everything is fine for continuity and sanity, etc., and that it all flows properly. Because of my slow work rate, a lot of that's already done for me. I only do 2,000 words a day over the course of an 8-hour period of writing / marketing, 5 hours of which is almost pure writing. So if you look at that, it's only about 250 words an hour / 400 words an hour of actual writing. And that might seem very slow to some people, but remember, that's finished words. This is pre-edited stuff. It's like combining draft 1 and 2 together. A lot of people don't understand that, can't do that. I can. It works very well for me. My books are very well rated because of it. It's a process that not everyone can grasp, but it works for me. So, with that beta ready copy of of Cadence going out next week, Cadence will be at the cleaners, as it were. I'm not allowed to touch it for at least a couple of weeks while initial feedback comes in. I just let it pile up. I let it sit on a shelf to get some distance, okay? Which means I'm going to have to take out another project. But let me pause right there, because that's the third thing we're going to talk about. Put that aside for now. Understand that Cadence is in good hands, and the sequel to Rhythm is coming out, and that there will be a short story to accompany that I am currently working on over on Wattpad. That's going to get mentioned again in a different context. But let's rewind. Why am I going from 50-hour weeks all the way up to potentially 70-hour weeks? Yeah, I understand. It seems a little extreme, particularly for a writer. But I have started a course from Mark Dawson called 101. This is the Rolls Royce of self-published author marketing, self-published author kind of business, the business side of all of that. What do you do as far as advertising, as far as promotion, etc., it's where I'm the weakest. I'm a great creator. I know it. I have the self-confidence that has never been a problem. My stuff, even back in the ghostwriting days, I knew that my stuff would be fairly well reviewed for what it was, right? And these days, now that I'm putting my own name on my works, if you go over to Goodreads, you will see that I am a 4+ star, like a 4.1 average, and that even includes my crappy nonfiction book pulling down my average, right? So yeah, I have the confidence, and I think that I've got the talent to make it in the field. What I didn't have was the marketing side. So I took my profits from my audiobook and I poured it into my education, at least the profits from the last 3 months. And that went right to Mark Dawson's 101 course, and that's what I'm doing. So why does that add hours? Well, the education itself adds hours, of course, but that's not going to last forever. I'll be done with the primary course material probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks. But that won't matter because I'll still have to remaster 5 books cover to cover. That's one of the first things I learned. I'm also going to have to keep better tabs on my advertising. I'm also going to have to do more promotional stuff. I'm going to have to dedicate, simply put, more time to the promotional side of the business if I want to continue to be a successful author with no other job. So, that accounts for some more hours. What about the rest of the hours? I have dedicated myself to improving the breadth, the width of my writing portfolio. With that in mind, I am also, in addition to my 3-day-a-week schedule of about 2.5 to 3 hours a day of remastering books and doing things of that nature, I've also dedicated another 9-ish hours a week to creating for Wattpad. Wattpad is, of course, a free medium that you can use to get your writing out there. Often used for fanfic and what have you. The rattling, by the way, is Loki in the background playing with his little circular ball thing. He's quite insane. The Wattpad story that I have chosen, however, as an author that has already put stuff out there, including my free book, Another Stupid Spell, which is entirely and completely on Wattpad, I've decided to look at cutesy magical realism romance. Why? Because there are a lot of fans out there who like the lighter stuff, who like the romantic stuff, who don't want to see a bunch of blood and guts. And I've got trilogies for combat and violence and magic and earth-shaking stuff. I wanted something nice. I wanted something that I could put out there and say, hey, Mom, Mom, I did this. And my mom won't freak out, She's already very proud of me. She has copies of my books and what have you. But I'm sure she would like something that she could sit down and go, "Aw." And that's exactly what kind of story this is. It's called My Foxy Boyfriend, and it's about a chef, and she has gone out there with a passion to bring fine dining to the food truck. Okay? She wants to take the entire fine dining experience, encapsulate it, and sell it out of the back of a food truck. And it's funny, and it's cute, and it's about her meeting and becoming romantic with kind of a skittish young man, and it's about the surprises that happen afterwards. A little bit of magical realism, very cutesy stuff. That is over on Wattpad under the Bill Ricardi name. I'll leave a link. So 3 days a week, I'm updating that. So there's another 9-ish hours out the window. So if you take the 50 hours that I've already been doing and add the 18 that I just talked about, now we're talking about 68 hours a week, give or take. I may be able to cut down some of my other marketing areas to focus on the stuff that Mark Dawson is recommending, but I definitely have 5 books to remaster, period. So there you go. So that's part 2. That's what's going on with me and my hours. Now, the final bit is what happens next, right? I remember I put that little bookmark in my head. What happens after Cadence goes to the beta readers? I said I start working again immediately. Well, what's that mean? That means that while any manuscript is resting, a writer shouldn't stop writing unless they've gone on vacation, which does happen every once in a while. But in my case, it's not going to. I do have an April vacation coming up at some point, but the beta readers will be, well and thoroughly at the end of the process by then. So what I'm doing is I'm leaping into the second book of the Blackstaff Siblings. So we're back in Panos again. Urban fantasy will take a back seat at that point, and I'll be ready for the launch of Cadence and all that. I'll have the short story, the free short story release for Cadence. That will be done as well. That will be up on Wattpad. But other than that, I will be entirely then focused on Panos again and the second book of the Blackstaff Siblings. And I'll announce the name of that book hopefully in the next couple of weeks, probably when I start working on it. I just want to make sure that I get everything ready, I get the copyright down, etc., etc. That is already well outlined. Actually, the entire trilogy is fairly well outlined. So it should not be a hard write. But that is what I start working on basically not this weekend, but the weekend afterwards. There you go. That is it. It's a huge update, and I do apologize for going a little bit long this time. But as you can see, my life is dramatically changing now. I have to rededicate myself to both the art as well as the science of writing, and at the same time, I have to rededicate myself to the promotional side, advertising and things of that nature. So that's me. Wish me luck, and please tell your friends that they can now go directly to BillRicardi.com, and that there's a mailing list sign up right at the very top, and they can get their free copy of Another Stupid Spell directly from there. And from inside Another Stupid Spell, there's links to all of my other works and to kind of what's next in the Panos universe. That's it for me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for being patrons. Thank you so much for your support. There will be a link to Patreon at the bottom of the video. And I wish you all a pleasant weekend.